Hey, my name is Jordan Coley, and welcome to my special song meaning series where I unpack the details of all of the songs from my album, Sparrow and Flower. Just a heads up, all of my songs are written from a Christian perspective since that's who I am, but I've also tried very intentionally to make sure that the way that I approach that isn't divisive. Or at the very least, that's not my intention. If you're cool with that, awesome. If you're not cool with that, I totally respect you. And honestly, I just hope that you'll choose to stay and listen anyway. But no offense taken if you don't. Today, we're highlighting Too Late, Too Little, which is the fourth track on the album. Oddly enough, for all of my emo aesthetic, this is the only song on the album that's actually about a romantic relationship. And it might be one of the most personal and vulnerable songs that are on the whole project. It's about a relationship that I had that fell apart because we had two different priorities. When I said my most important priority in life was serving the Lord, it didn't actually end up having the same impact that I thought it would. Although I am far from perfect, Matthew 6:33 is the verse that I try to filter my entire life through. It talks about how when we prioritize the kingdom of God first, we can trust him to meet our needs. She, on the other hand, instead decided that I was the number one priority in her life. And that sounds nice, but in my mind, I was just being elevated to a position that I wasn't supposed to have, that I didn't deserve. I realized at that moment that we weren't going in the same direction spiritually, and that was in spite of previous conversations that we'd had about it. It put this kind of silent but ever-present stress on things that just couldn't be reconciled. And that's not for lack of trying on both our parts. And I'm sad that I didn't just gracefully exit there, and instead I tried to convince her to have the same perspective as me, but it ended up just not being that way. I tried to show up the best I could in the meantime, that I could meet all of those expectations, but I knew deep down I just couldn't keep up. So the verses leading up to the chorus in the song all talk about working up the courage to say what needed to be said. From there, the chorus talks about the feeling of being lifted up on a pedestal, knowing that's not actually your place, and then understanding that that means that you're only going to let that person that you care about down. The song that came out of this relationship was the end result of, honestly, a lot of tear-filled, gut-wrenching nights that I had to recognize that this person that I cared so deeply for didn't have the same heart for the kingdom that I did. And that they weren't prepared to take some of the risks that that meant taking. In summary, there was just strain, like in the bridge where it talks about my eventual decision to stop opening up in our relationship, because every time it felt like space was finally being made to address some of those things, I never truly felt like I was being heard. So we drifted further apart, and eventually the relationship ended. That last chorus introduces a dual melody vocal part that kind of exemplifies this feeling of not being able to say what we truly mean while other thoughts are being given air. Both of those things that are being said in that moment have value, but our brains can only really ever process one thing at a time. So I thought that it felt fitting for the situation that it's describing to have those kind of layered vocals, both describing a melody at the same time. I ended the song with that crowd vocal part that's an echo of what's being said in that layered chorus before. It might come across as tongue-in-cheek, but honestly, it's a sincere prayer, hoping for the best for her and wishing that she truly has an encounter with the one who truly does meet all of our needs. And that is the long and short of Too Late, Too Little. Next up is track 5, Open Letter. See you then.